Hello and welcome to Art School Live. My name is Mandy Tice. I am substituting for Eric on the Art School Live show today while he is on one of his art adventures. And today we have the lovely Fen Rascoe joining us today. Fen, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mandy. Good to see you again.
So glad to have you here.
Yeah, we met at the Plein Air Convention. Very great to get to know you there.
Oh, thank you. It was so wonderful to get to speak with you and learn more about you and your art at the convention as well. For those of you who have not been to PACE, it's phenomenal. 5 stars, recommend. So Fen, what are you going to teach us today?
We're going to teach your trees how to dance.
Ooh.
And I'm not a very good dancer, but try to get my trees to dance anyway. So
I love that you're living vicariously through your trees.
That's right, exactly. So what we're working off today is a picture that I took on an early morning run in Beaufort, North Carolina, about a year ago. And can y'all see that? Can you see the painting, the first painting?
Yep, we gotcha.
Yeah, there we go. So I've already painted a big one, and then I painted a small one today just to warm up. So we're going to be working off not making your trees so stiff and give them some rhythm and make them dance. And that gives a whole lot more interest to the painting.
All right. Well, I can't wait to get this show started. Let's get going.
All right.
It's Art School Live with Eric Rhodes. Now, here's your host, Eric Rhodes.
You may have noticed that I am not, in fact, Eric Rhodes. My name is Mandy Tice. I'm the director of the School of Atelier Arts. And today I'm substituting for Eric while he was away on one of his art adventures. And today we have the delightful Fen Rascoe going to teach us how to make our trees dance today. So Fen, take it away.
All right. Good deal. First of all, I like to go through real quickly because I always get a lot of questions from my students. Is what do you know? How do you know what to paint? How do you start? And it's what I call the due diligence part of a painting. So can everybody see that, I hope?
Yeah, we see it great.
All right. So it's something that catches my eye, step number one. So when I was walking by this or running that day, these trees really caught my eye the way the morning light was setting them off. And I took a picture of it and took it back to the studio. And if I were painting in plein air, I'd do the same thing. But I remember what was it that caught my eye? Where will it fit in the painting? So in this one, obviously, I always draw a tic-tac-toe board, and I try to keep the center of interest away from the center. And to me, the center of interest is in the upper right-hand quadrant, where the trees are, where the darks and the lights are. And I establish my horizon line. I make sure that's not in the center. And it's not a rule, but it's just an undeniable truth that the paintings have more interest if the horizon line is either north or south of the center line. And then I try to squint, or if I have the ability to put it in black and white and in a no tan type value scale to get a good idea of where I'm going with it. And instead of just start painting, I like to do these little intellectual steps or due diligence steps before I get going.
I like that you call it due diligence. You know, a lot of us, myself included, are like, oh, I see something, grab your paints and go for it. And then we make a mess because we didn't get our thoughts organized before we started.
That's right. And that's what makes a great painting. If you take your time and do the design and think things through, then you're going to be off to a great start. I'm a school of Ken. I was a student of Ken Oster. And he often talked about that. He had his own way of saying it's the passion sandwich: is intellect, get all that stuff done, and then passionately throw your paint down, and then go back to intellect to finish the painting at the end. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Could you tell us
I always remember that. So we all get excited when we just start throwing the paint down, but we gotta stop for a minute and take a deep breath and organize. All
Can you
right.
tell us a little bit about how you learned your skills? Like, so you trained under another master, and what were your stages to get from, hey, that looks like fun, to where you are now, where you are a master sharing your
Right.
knowledge with others?
Well, yeah, like everybody else, pretty much in the painting community, I grew up drawing and then didn't take it very seriously until when I was in college. I'd take painting classes to get my GPA up so I wouldn't flunk out of my regular major. And then about 2010, somewhere around that time, I started picking it back up. And I was lucky to have a mentor here in my area, older gentleman, Dr. Fred Saunders, who took me outside kicking and screaming and got me to start plein air painting. And then I saw Ken Oster's work, and I took every workshop he could possibly teach until he died. So
That's wonderful.
that was a major influence. Ken didn't clean his brushes, and he was sloppy, and he made everything simple for Southern Redbird like myself, so I could understand it.
I love that. Well, thank you for sharing. And, I have to say to our audience today that Fen was instrumental in dragging me outside. I'm usually a studio painter. And when I was like at Pace, all these wonderful instructors there were like, Mandy, you think you're a studio painter, but we're taking you outside. So thank you for being a part of my journey.
Yes, right. We met in Virginia City. I walked into the saloon after painting, and you were there at the bar. It's almost like a Western, except I didn't buy you a drink. I ended up freeloading the second half of your sandwich off of you and your French fries.
Well, I feel like if you can't be absurd around artists, who can you be absurd around, right?
Yeah, exactly. Good deal. All right, so let's get this thing going. I'm going to turn the camera to my.
Excellent.
I got my plein air set up inside.
Great.
And can everybody see that in my?
We can.
Palette?
Yeah, I'll let you know if you're in our way or if we can't see.
Okay.
And we also have your reference image on the bottom right of the screen.
That's it. Yeah, I just painted that this morning just to get warm up. And for the people watching today, and maybe the people that are watching for the next couple of days on the recording, I will give this away if you follow my Instagram page to put your name in the raffle hat, so to speak. I'll draw for winner and send this demo, or whichever one's better. This one took me about 45 minutes, so I did that one in case I can't finish this. We can jump to this to the end. So
okay, so for those of you who are as in a shock as I am, Mr. Fen Rascoe here is going to give away his demo today. He's going to raffle it on Saturday, and all you have to do is follow his Instagram to be eligible for the raffle. So definitely go over to @Fen_Rascoe_studio and follow him for your chance to win one of these demos. How amazing is that?
that's great. Yeah, just probably DM me once you follow me and say, Art School Live raffle or something like that, so I'll know.
Okay, so the instructions are follow Fen Rascoe @Fen_Rascoe_studio and DM him saying Art School Live to enter this competition, this raffle for the demo that he's giving us today. How cool is that?
Yeah, nice. Okay, so what I'm doing here, well, I always start my paintings, and I don't have to be exact, but I'm putting that tic-tac-toe board that I talked about with the picture, just to get a feel for where the center is and where my horizon line's going and where the center is, and to stay away from that.
Would you be able to paint just a little bit darker? We can't quite see your marks on the.
Yeah, absolutely.
I recognize you wouldn't normally paint that dark, but just for the demo today.
Yeah, that's fine.
Excellent. We can see that. Thank you.
That better?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be exact. We're painting impressionistic. We're not doing an architectural draft or anything. So, so I get that established, and then it's time to kind of put my shapes in. And you notice I said shapes. I didn't say trees. And I try to really hone that in on my workshops with my students, and maybe some of them are watching. They'll go, "Oh yeah, I know what he's talking about now." And I try to give it another name instead
Where
of a tree.
where can students sign up for one of your workshops?
Get on, after you follow me on Instagram, go to fen-rascoe.com and get on my email list.
Excellent.
And I've got a workshop coming up in the Outer Banks of North Carolina in September, but it's sold out. But I think I'm going to have one in the later fall. So
Definitely get on that mailing list so you don't.
Get on that mailing list, exactly. And then if you're interested, but we've had some great. The last one I did was spring training for plein air painting. I did that in February.
Oh, that's a good topic.
And that was great. Where I am, I live in the South, so the winters aren't that extreme. So when February hits, like the baseball teams, we can get outside and get all the rust out and train on how the springtime's coming soon. So, and this next one will be a fall in eastern North Carolina, which is a great place to paint. All the crops are being harvested and the cotton's in full bloom. It's really beautiful. All the cypress trees are rusty color.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah. All right. So what I'm doing here, I'm establishing a roadmap, and I'm getting the tree, not the tree. I got to correct myself, my shape. So in this one, to give it rhythm, it reminds me of like the Mardi Gras people that are on stilts or in carnival when they're walking down the parade. So I'm gonna try to. I don't know what you call those people, but this is what I'm trying to emulate instead of a tree.
You know, one thing I love so much about your demo already is kind of the Southern perspective you're bringing, to ideas of shapes or, Mardi Gras stilts. Of course, that's not something being from the North that I think about. And I love this idea that you came with us today, just about these dancing trees and how you're integrating themes from the South into that.
Right. And that's what I think about when I'm putting these trees in, is to give them rhythm. A lot of them are up straight, or we tend to, as we were in grade school, when it was time to draw in class, everybody had the straight up tree with the round circle and the lollipop look. And I see it all the time, and I've been guilty of it too. In my classes, when we're painting, people get bogged down and not doing shit, not looking at its shapes, and they start doing this. And all of a sudden, you can see the lollipop look coming. And I say, get up, walk away, guys. Look at it. Look at the big. Don't look at it as a tree, because you're thinking just like you were in grade school. I'm painting a tree instead of a shape. And a lot of my shapes, I always look at them, except for this one, because we're using the parade person on stilts. But a lot of times, this looks like to me like a turkey gobbler in full strut on a tree instead of painting a tree. And I always say that to my students. Just anything to get away from what you're trying to identify in your mind what it is, and just keep that. And everybody's probably watching this is taking a workshop and have heard it 1,000 times about shapes, but that is the foundation. If you can do that and discipline yourself to do that, then you will make it a lot easier.
You're reminding me of a workshop I was teaching for students once, and it was a bunch of art teachers, and I was trying to get them to name their shapes, kind of like what you're saying. Oh, it's a turkey. It's not a tree, right? And I was like, don't you see? This is Minnesota on crack.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe I'm not supposed to say that out loud, but the student immediately understood what I was trying to say just by. Yeah.
Well, I can definitely use that analogy for some yahoos I know. All right. So right here again. All right. So now I'm looking at my shapes. I'm looking at my man on stilts going down the parade in Mardi Gras, and I'm blocking in these darks. Y'all have my reference picture on the bottom, right?
Yeah, we have your reference there. And Fen, I'm getting a couple messages from our audience saying that they can't send you a message. You might have your Instagram on private, But go ahead and just follow Fen, and I'll help Fen see who followed him between now and Saturday so that he can do his raffle that way.
Yeah, if you go ahead and follow me, you should be able to message me right in. But if not, I'll know anybody who starts following me between now and Saturday. It's more than likely going to be people that are watching this show. But you should be able to DM me, no problem. But if not, I'll fix that. If not, go to my website and email me that you follow me, and I can count you in that way too.
Great.
All right. So I've got my roadmap. I'm still in the due diligence phase of this paint.
All right, and for those of you just joining us, Fen was telling us about how there's a due diligence phase, and then there's like what did you call the middle part, Fen? The passionate.
Ken �'Alster called it the passion phase, but that's when you're having the fun part. You're throwing the colors down after you it's just like a house painter. People that paint houses, the main part of it is doing the prep work before they actually get the paintbrush out. That's what makes a great paint. So right now I'm in that due diligence phase of making sure my design looks right. Now in this painting and the big one that I did, I added the boats in. In my demo, I didn't because I wanted to use some trees to show distance. And on my demo and on this one, you'll see that I'm going to cool these trees in the distance down. I've got to have a balance on this side. Everything's weighted on my right-hand side now. So I've got to have a little bit of a balance over here. And it doesn't take much, but it needs something. So I'll put a smaller, and it's not a small tree. It's probably even bigger than these, but it's in the distance.
Now, are you making this tree up out of your head, or
I am? Yeah, I've done enough of these in the swamps and the marsh to know about where one would be.
Yeah. Do you have any advice if you wanted to, add a tree? Like, what are some pieces of advice you'd give students that need to make up a tree?
Yeah. Okay. Now, what I do with my students is I call it getting greedy. And you got to get greedy. Some people get out there and they think I've got to paint everything in the painting, or I've got to paint, I've got to make it just like it is. And they'll go, oh, I didn't paint that thing. I didn't have room, or it was way over there. And I said, get greedy, put it in there, move it around. Greed is good when you're plein air painting and painting in general, because if unless you're doing a commission, nobody's going to know where you painting or what you were painting. And
sure,
make things work, bring things in there, make them like we're going to talk about today. We're going to make these trees dance, and they may not be dancing, but we're going to be greedy, and we're going to make them do it. So don't be afraid to bring something over that's behind you and bring it into the painting if it works, just like this. I mean, I got to have a little bit of balance, so I'm going to bring it in. I
love this.
All right, so right here, I'm just kind of painting everything darker than where it's probably going to end, but I'm getting the shapes of my man dancing down Bourbon Street or wherever they have the Mardi Gras or in Carnival. And I'm trying to give it some rhythm already, but nothing major. We're using really light paint. And by the way, everybody sees my palette. I got lemon yellow and gravity's taking it down a little bit. Cad yellow medium, cad orange, cad red light, alizarin crimson, the 𝗙𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀 purple, and 𝗲𝗶𝗫𝗀𝗀𝗀 ultramarine blue. Those are my main colors. And then I've used the earth tones of yellow ochre and either transparent red oxide or burnt sienna, something similar to that. And I'm starting to use this fast drying white, titanium white. I really like that painting outside.
Can you talk to us about the fast drying white and what advantage it gives you outside?
it allows, especially your sky colors, to set up quicker.
Mhm.
Regular titanium white it's going to be wet for weeks.
Mhm.
And again, I like to get greedy. I want that paint and dry quick so I can get and frame it and sell it, take it to the gallery. I want immediate gratification. But no, it's
You're a man of
seriously,
your age.
yeah. When I start putting that sky in, I want it to start tacking up,
Mhm.
and all my sky colors are going to have titanium white mixed in with them.
Mhm.
And I just found it to be easy. It's just good to work with to me.
Mhm.
Don't give all your love to one brush, and I always do that, and that's how your stuff gets cloudy. So I switched to my sky brush. So I need to do one more thing before I do that.
Okay, so some memorable quotes from today so far: get greedy and don't give all your love to just one brush.
Exactly. If you ever watch 𝗙𝗲𝗏𝗀𝗀 painting, she's got like 20 brushes in her hand when she does her painting.
I find I'm the opposite. I hate washing brushes so much that I've developed a way of painting mostly with one brush.
Yeah. It's easy to do.
Yeah.
And when at the end of the painting and you don't have paint on your palette
Uh-huh.
and you start scrubbing stuff, because
Oh,
you're
yeah.
tired, dark, that's time to
Yeah.
take a deep breath, walk away, and put the paint back on there.
Yes, it's so hard to stop when you're mid-thought to, do the maintenance tasks, like putting more paint on your palette.
Yeah. By habit, I'm starting to go to my palette down here, and I'm keep forgetting I'm having to use this one up here.
Yeah.
All right. So still using light paint, just kind of get these values down. And trees that we're talking about in the distance while I'm on it, they have to be cooler and more muted in the back. So I'm using a green, I'm cooling it down. I'm putting a little red in it. Red obviously is the complement of green to mute it down in the background, to give it in the distance.
Excellent.
So I tell my students, the easy way to remember it is cool in the back, warm in the front. So if you warm a color or you make it more intense, it's going to come forward. If you mute it and cool it, it's going to fall back into the distance.
So there's some questions about your fast drying titanium white. Are you married
Yeah.
to any particular brand, or you just want it to have the alkyd in it?
Yeah. And what I've been using is the Winsor Newton soap, brand right now, and I'm not getting paid by them or anything like that. But it's called Griffin, and it's a fast drying. And I don't even know what they put in it, but I guess it's some medium dry, but
Fairy dust, obviously.
yeah, exactly. But I just like it. For especially when you paint 𝗙𝗲𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗀, which is wet on wet, and everybody knows that, I'm sure, in the audience, so I'm not trying to tell you something you don't know. But like I said, getting greedy. If I'm going to paint wet on wet, I want that stuff to dry a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
All right, now what I'm doing here, this was in the morning, and you can't really see it in the photo. And that's the thing about with photos, is there's so much stuff you lose. But when the sun is rising, or setting for that matter, when it's coming up, it's still casting a shadow on whatever's in the particles in the very horizon or something. I mean, it's not all until it gets above the horizon line. It's still casting a little bit of a shadow on the particles that are in the atmosphere. And so you got a little bit of a darker color at the horizon line on a sunrise, which this was. And then the sky goes into a spectrum. order and everything, and that's another class one day, but everything that we paint is in order of the spectrum. So here I'm putting, so I'm going from, even though I had that purple down there because of the cast shadow, it took the orange and the red out, and I'm going straight to the yellow. So this is kind of a yellow color on the sky. And people are going, what does that got to do with the trees? Well, everything in this painting is a backup singer or part of the band of the lead singer.
I like that.
And Scott Hamill had a great way of saying that in his demo at the Plein Air convention. His focal point he called Mick Jagger, and then the rest of them, Keith Richards and Charlie Watts and all that.
Oh, I love that concept.
So I'm a Southern guy, so I would use the Allman Brothers and say that's Greg Allman and that's Dwayne or something. We actually don't. They really didn't have a lead person. So, but anyway, the point being, everything in the painting supports that focal area. And I'm hoping, what caught my eye that morning again was the light hitting the tree. So I'm going here, I'm going from yellow to yellow green almost in the sky. And I'll, when, at the end, if I have time, obviously I'm going to blend this in, but just to so the viewers will know. And if you go outside, you can see this. You can see it any day. You can see the light, the sky getting darker and bluer as it goes north of you overhead, and as it goes towards the horizon line, it's the color of the spectrum. It goes from blue down to a blue green to a green yellow to a yellow, and then sunset, then you're gonna have the yellows and the oranges, obviously.
It's beautiful. Do you find that the colors that you reach for your skies differ when you're in different locations?
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, well, it more different, it's more different days, or like if it's a real hazy day versus a clear, crisp day, it's going to be different. But and then that gets into some more Ken Oster brain teasers. As he always said, paint what you know, not what you see. So when that's a very crisp day, you're not going to have a whole lot of atmosphere. And so when I said cool in the back, warm in the front, that's what you're doing. You're compensating for the atmosphere. So you're having to cool things in the background and give them less edge and mute them, that kind of thing. And if it's a very crisp day, you're not going to see that. You'll see it on the day like it is here. It's 110 degrees outside here in North Carolina right now.
Oh my goodness.
It's so hazy you can't even see down the block. But in a painting, we got to compensate for that, even if we don't see it in outside.
I remember
because if you don't, you're going to make everything look the same, and everything's going to come. It's not going to give the illusion of depth.
Yeah. I remember the first time I ever went to New Mexico, I used to think that the Taos painters were kind of garish and that they were exaggerating their colors. And then the first time I actually saw the sky and the rocks in New Mexico, I was like, oh, that's
yeah. Oh yeah. That's a great point. I remember I took Josh Bean's workshop in Sedona, and the sky in the background with those orange rocks when the sun's setting, it's almost straight out of the tube blue sky.
Yes. I couldn't believe it.
But it's the same sky we got here. It's just it's playing on different. The lead singer is dressed in orange instead of green, and it just really pulls it out.
Yes.
So I'm still, for the viewers, I'm still in my intellectual due diligence, maybe. I mean, maybe not. Maybe I'm somewhere in the middle, but I'm still cognizant of these values and getting everything straight.
We have a
Start
couple
working.
questions in the
Yep.
chat for you. Can you tell us again which blues that you're using and what kind of panel you're painting on?
Yeah, okay. The only blue I'm using today is ultramarine blue. And I try to, sometimes I'll use cobalt, but I think especially people that are starting out, and not even people that are starting out, I love to limit my palette.
Mhm.
And
And for those of you who didn't see our lesson on Tuesday, Barbara Tapp did a great lesson on limited palette as well. So it's great hearing this repeated again, like this limited palette concept.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're playing air painting. And that's what I tell my students too. You got to have your A game on before you go outside. Don't go outside and start cleaning your palette and fumbling around for paint and looking for, you see how I'm cooling this marsh in the background? Did y'all notice that? I put a little blue in this yellow because I got to give it distance.
That makes sense. Can you tell us a little bit about your A game? Like, let's say you wake up this morning, you're going outside to paint. How do you prep yourself to go outside?
Yeah, my A game is, and I always tell my students this, I say, you practice before. I'm telling them right now, I got a workshop coming up in September again. And I'm saying, go outside now. Don't wait until the workshop. Go outside, even for you, some of you that hadn't plein air painted. Well, most of these have already done it, but I'm saying get out there and practice setting up your equipment, painting, having everything in your car. I have everything in my car. I'm going to hold that thought for a minute. I'm going to do this real quick. This is where I'm starting to give the rhythm to the tree. And if you look at my painting, I mean, the picture, it's already dancing a little bit, but I'm going to get greedy, like I always say, and I'm going to give it more rhythm.
Ooh.
That's just the first pass. But now, can you see that guy on stilts?
Yes, it's so
dancing?
calligraphic the way you put it down. Yes.
Yeah.
So much
that's
movement.
what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of him or her, whoever's doing it, whoever's on those stilts. And you know that they got the big peacock feathers behind them and all that.
Yes.
And so, I mean, so that's it right here. That's what I'm visualizing.
It's beautiful.
And then we got 3 trees right beside each other. And if you see in the photograph, they're kind of equally spaced, aren't they?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna get greedy again. You really don't want.
I feel like you're not going to tolerate that.
No, I'm not gonna tolerate it. I'm gonna put this other one. And I'm not getting everything perfect now. I'm just. And you may go like that. And let's see here. I got a 3rd tree. It's my painting. I can do what I want to. If I don't have to put it in or I can, but I'm gonna put it in because I'm gonna get greedy because I really like getting greedy with these shadows. You can see them behind. You see how these, and that's really what's gonna set off the painting. And I may not have time on this one, but the one I did before, we'll jump to that when we get. I don't even know how much time
we have about 10 minutes left today.
Are you serious?
Yes. Sorry.
No way. Oh my God.
Well, you've been giving us so much great information. It just
Oh man, time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? Okay.
Well, it's your party. You can get greedy if you want to with all of your.
I got really greedy, didn't I? Wow, I didn't know we had gone that quick. Okay, well, hopefully everybody in the viewing audience has seen. That's how I establish that rhythm at the very beginning. And it doesn't seem like the very beginning because we're almost done, but.
Well, I have a question for you. Sometimes early on in a painting, I'll get something really gestural and beautiful down, and then I fuss it away and I ruin it. Do you have any advice for not ruining your beautiful gesture that you just laid down by the time you finish your painting?
Yeah, don't. When you start, I'm gonna switch to the other painting now. Hold on. Yes, I do. You don't. When you find yourself starting to noodle something, it's time to stop.
Are there signs that you're noodling? Like, are there certain things that you do that are signals to you through experience that you know you need to stop now?
Yes, one thing is when you start holding your paintbrush like a pencil,
Uh-huh.
and you're writing a love letter or a thank you note, you need to stop.
I love it. I love it.
You need to stop.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is obviously the one I did earlier in case I had a feeling I was going to run out of time. So you can see, and this still was in the block end phase. But you see, I gave these trees, I gave them rhythm, I made them dance. They've got a lot more curvature than they do in the picture, or at least I hope they do.
Mhm.
And it doesn't stop with the actual tree. You got to give the branches rhythm because you don't want things just going straight up out
Mhm.
like a peace sign or upside down peace sign or something. It's gotta have that. Maybe that might not be enough paint on that to show. Oh, and then somebody asked about what my panel is. This is birch wood, and I gessoed on top of it, or gessoed, whatever the correct pronunciation is.
Do you use
And,
oil
and
or acrylic gesso?
it's old. It's acrylic gesso to
Mhm.
put on here,
Okay.
and then I guess I did, yeah.
Mhm.
And I'll either do that or I'll go ahead and put linen, double prime linen on here. I'll glue it on here.
Okay.
I do both. And today I'm doing this gesso, and I stained it beforehand. So I've got a rigger brush. I use these for the final touches. I'm back into the intellectual phase, the due diligence part. I'm going into detail. It's like Don Demers said, and I took a lot of his or watched a lot of his videos. I love him.
Mhm.
He's always said start off with the biggest brush and end with your smallest. And then he kind of simplified it. Start off with a mop and end with a needle.
Ah.
So I'm ending with my small. It's kind of hard for me to do it and talk and do it at an angle like this, but I'm starting on the tree and then I'm bringing those branches out.
Beautiful.
See that?
Ah, that's
Now
gorgeous.
this part's in shade, which is good. So then I need to do some that's getting that sunlight from the tree, the main tree, as Scott Hamill says, the Mick Jagger.
Wow, this feels so lawless to me. That you're just going with this rhythm and, you have a big
Yeah.
understanding of your light and shadow and using that to base these marks on.
Now I'm getting greedy here because I got a dark value back there and I can really turn it up with those branches. See?
Cool.
And then I'm giving it the layer upon, overlap, overlap, overlap.
Mm.
So I'll give that. And so I'll still come in here and carve some of these trees, even though I've got them in here and I've got the rhythm, I still got some carving to do from behind the negative shapes.
So there's a couple questions in the chat
Yeah,
for you. So you
yeah.
did this painting a little earlier. How dry is it at this point? Like, is it dry enough for you to make these marks? Could you have made those marks on the one that you were just working on before?
I could have, because I use really light paint at the beginning. And whenever you are painting darks, you want to use the lightest. You don't want to really throw down juicy paint when it's real dark value. You want to
Okay.
keep it light. So on this one, yeah, I probably could have, but let's look at this part right in here. If I had just put that down with regular titanium white and I put some real juice in it, it would be hard for me to do this, but it's already tacking up. I don't know,
Mm.
maybe y'all couldn't see that. Let's see, make it a little bit darker. But I'm still being real light. Can y'all see that? Well, I went
Yeah.
over the tree. All right, so that was the sky behind that, obviously, and I use titanium white, but I use that fast drying, so it's already tacking up
Mm.
where I can go across it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like that. I like to be able to, because it's real easy to, when you're trying to when you paint 𝗙𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀 like this and you're putting sky holes in and you get your white mixed in with that, and then you're getting a rush and you're not cleaning your brush, or you're using the same brush, it starts chalking stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
So you really got to discipline yourself there. How much time we got left?
We have about 5 minutes, friend.
Okay. I'm gonna still do it with the trees, but when I said earlier about cooling off things in the background,
Mm-hmm.
this all plays too about giving your trees rhythm and letting them dance, because if and I hadn't finished these, but I just wanted to put these in to show you, this is the same DNA, same tree kind. These are big, tall, I don't even know what kind of pines they are, but they're in the coastal area of North Carolina. And they get real tall and skinny and get curvy like that because of the ocean wind, and the sound wind keeps blowing them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So in the marshes, this is the same tree, same type, same DNA, but I had to cool it down.
Mm-hmm.
You see how I gave it distance?
Mm-hmm.
With that, if I'd made it the same temperature and gave it the same edge work, same detail as these trees, then it would look like just a miniature tree and would come forward.
So you just said something really important. The same temperature, the same edge work, and what was the third thing you just said? Well, you have to differentiate. Yeah.
Yes, it's the same tree, same DNA, but I muted these greens down.
All right.
And they're cooler.
Mm-hmm.
So I put more. It's almost an oxymoron in the sense that I said I'm going to cool it by putting red in it. But if I put red, alizarin crimson in it, or cadmium red light, just a tad of it with white, it's going to mute that green down.
Yeah.
And put some more blue in it. I'm cooling it down. I'm muting it down, so it's giving it distance. These are warmer. These are more intense greens, but I'm still trying to keep them somewhat muted, but less muted because they come forward just off of temperature alone.
That's amazing.
And then this tree line in the back is obviously more muted than these, and it's just, and even with my marsh, it's just the first pass, but you can see the spectrum again. I keep talking about the spectrum. I got warm yellows up front, and as it goes back, I've cooled it down to and almost put a blue green tint to it.
Excellent.
And see how it gives it the distance?
Yes, that's beautiful.
It lays it down.
Okay, we have just a few minutes. If there's one more thing you wanted to do to your painting, now's the time.
Okay, well, I kept talking about negative shapes a little bit, like carving these trees back out.
Oh, I want to see you do that.
So yeah, so that would come in like that. And this is back towards the intellectual part of the painting, where I'm taking edges off, leaving some in, adding sky hole here. Now see, I don't want to get my brush contaminated, so I need to clean it. Go back down to the sky color, maybe add a few in there. Take some edge off. I can come back down here. If I'm going to carve some of these tree branches off, then I've got to go back to that sky color that's further down towards the horizon line, not the blue I just used. So I have to add some green in it, some viridian. See how that's almost the same color?
Yes.
I'm going to come back and carve that branch out here. So it's giving and taking, pulling and pushing. That gives it that painterly, loose. In other words, when I'm doing that, you've seen people that they paint, and if they don't go behind and carve out some, and kind of go back in with the negative shape, and it looks like the tree was cut and pasted on there instead of inside the painting.
Excellent. All right. We have one more technical question for you from the chat.
Yep.
How are you attaching your canvas to your boards? What are you using for that?
It's a neutral pH neutral glue, and I forgot the brand name. But if you can on Amazon, if you just put in pH neutral glue, it's archival and it'll last for our lifetime and your grandchildren's lifetime. And if you get a painting in a museum, it'll be archival. And then you put the linen on top of that.
Oh, amazing.
And that's why I always like painting on panels, because when you paint outside, the sunlight can't get through when you're plein air painting.
Excellent. Well, Fen, thank you so much. And for all of our audience today, remember that Fen is going to give away one of these studies and you don't want to miss it. So there's two ways that you can enter to win. You can follow his Instagram at Fen_Rascoe_studio, or you can go to his website and send him an email to enter into the giveaway for this amazing opportunity. You don't want to miss it. So either fenrascoe.com or at Instagram at Fen_Rascoe_studio. Fen, thank you so much for being here today. It was such a pleasure to see you paint.
Mandy, great. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to see you again.
Lovely.
I'll see you at PACE next year.
I plan on it. You too.
Everybody out there, go to PACE. You will love it. You'll learn so much, and you'll go back every year afterwards. I promise.
It's true. I'm already planning for next year. Thank you again, Fen. Lovely having you. All right, everybody who's watching today, don't forget that we have a free gift for you, 97 incredible art secrets. So go to 97artsecrets.com/ASL, and you can download this amazing free secrets gift. And then if you haven't signed up for Gouache Live, gouache is all the rage these days. You don't want to miss it. It's time to sign up. Main tickets start at $47. And on August 23rd, 2025, an incredible lineup of instructors will teach you about gouache painting, and you don't want to miss it. You can sign up at gouachelive.com. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel at Art School Lives on YouTube and at Eric Rhodes on Instagram. Again, please join me on my own YouTube channel at 𝗧𝗿𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀 on YouTube, or you can follow me at Mandy Fine Artist on Instagram. It was such a joy painting with all of you today. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow.